Let's take a look at some hack and slash games released in the past few years. Devil May Cry, God of War, Bayonetta, Torchlight, Diablo 3, Path of Exile, Nier Automata, Godfall. When it comes to design and combat mechanics, what characteristics do these games share? A fantasy world with unique characters with their own playstyles, emphasis on movement, and of course, a variety of high-octane combo attacks against nearly endless waves of enemies. However, this video is not about these games and their characteristics, but rather the game that defined these characteristics over 30 years ago, Golden Axe. Through the introduction of aforementioned characteristics, Golden Axe set the design standards for modern hack and slash games. To understand this game's impact, we have to go back to the golden age of arcades. The golden age of beat 'em up saw iconic games such as Kung Fu Master in 1984, Double Dragon in 1987, Ninja Gaiden in 1988, and Golden Axe in 1989. First, let's talk about the setting. Kung Fu Master, Double Dragon, Ninja Gaiden. All three of these games took the visual approach of an urban setting. You travel through buildings or city streets and dispose of enemies usually composed of gangsters and thugs. However, in Golden Axe, you travel through lush forests and mountainsides, finding dwarves riding on bizarrians.
This one's called Chicken Leg.
Golden Axe broke the mold by not only utilizing the D&D craze of the 1980s for a fantasy approach, it also introduced lore into the beat 'em up genre, telling a gripping revenge story of finding and slaying Death Adder, an evil giant who aims to enslave the entire world using the titular Golden Axe. Up until then, most beat 'em up games didn't even have a story. You were just some guy who woke up one day and decided to fight evil. With a unique theatrical twist to a well-saturated genre, Golden Axe left a great visual impression on its audiences. And as the audience that played Golden Axe started designing their own games, they took inspiration from the heavy fantasy themes of Golden Axe, creating many of the fantastic scenes that we see today. Of course, that's not the only thing Golden Axe did to set itself apart from other games. Gameplay patterns and compulsion loops between the former three games were almost identical, leading to stale player behavior. You'd move your predetermined character sideways across the screen on a flat surface until enemies appear, and then execute consecutive normal punches until all enemies on screen are defeated. Games would occasionally add a few unique mechanics to create the illusion of play pattern variety. While players had access to a variety of individual attacks, they could not be chained together for a variety of play patterns. Kung Fu Master had a crouch move where the player could dodge enemy projectiles or defeat them by low kicking, but the combat overall was limited to single punches or kicks, with enemies being defeated in one hit. Double Dragon gave the player a variety of attacks to pull off based on the enemy's position, but was little more than a gimmick. For example, the A button lands as a normal punch if the enemy was standing still, but would land as an uppercut if the enemy is in a squatting position. Essentially, the A button does the exact same thing in every scenario, it's only the animation that's different. Even Jimmy is just a reskin of Billy, with both characters possessing the exact same moveset, stats, and range. Ninja Gaiden gave the player a sword and the ability to throw enemies, but no way of following up with attack combos while they were mid-flight. All three of these games were iconic for their time and also relied on extremely simple core loops. Golden Axe changed that with character differentiation by introducing three unique characters with their own unique equipment, attack patterns, range, and for the first time, magic damage. Golden Axe refreshed the beat 'em up genre by introducing a new hack and slash playstyle. While most games had the player fighting fist to fist, Golden Axe had mounts and magic spells. You had the broadsword wielding barbarian axe battler, with average range, attack damage, and magic damage. There is also longsword wielding Amazon Tyrus Flare, with powerful magic damage but very poor weapon range. The last character is an axe wielding dwarf, Gilius Thunderhead, who sacrifices magic damage for extra combat prowess. Despite these minor differences between the characters, players were given so much more freedom when it came to core loops in the midst of combat. Instead of pressing A or B and walking to the next enemy and doing the same, you had different attacks for different characters that could be fairly smoothly chained into combo attacks. This provided the player a sense of pride and accomplishment for playing and mastering each hero's unique combos and playstyles. Let's just compare the strategic and mechanical depth of Golden Axe to the other three games. While two-dimensional beat-em-ups saw a lack of original ideas and plateauing of interest amongst arcade goers near the end of the 90s, many of the innovations Golden Axe brought to the beat-em-up genre and hack-and-slash subgenre were implemented into other games by the early 2000s with modern technology. While modern games constantly push the envelope of creative design, it's safe to say that Golden Axe is a pioneer of its time for setting in stone many traits that modern beat-em-ups and hack-and-slashers still use.